Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kyrus Has Friends. My name is Kyrus. I'm sitting here with my boy Rico. We're gonna get to him in a second, but before we do that, make sure you follow me on Facebook and on Instagram at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on Snapchat and TikTok at Kyrus Keenan, and you can always visit my website at thevibewithkai.com if you're looking for things and videos and blogs that'll make you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. But enough about me. We got the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only King of South Jersey, King of Collinswood, Mr. Rico Santiago. What's good, homie?
What's up, man? Living positively. What's your message? Positive, good vibes. You're
Good
like the
vibes,
Hulk
man.
Hogan. You're like the Hulk Hogan. Prayers, eat your vitamins, and listen to your parents and all that kind of stuff.
I'm like the Will Smith of South Jersey.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. If only you had a tenth of his money.
I do, for real. Yo, what's good, man? You are a father again.
Again,
And
late in life.
you have some beautiful children, and now you just added to your batch here another beautiful child. What is it like being a dad again and in quarantine at that?
It's a you kind of forget for a little bit. I mean, my daughter's 17, my son is 16, and now I have an 8-week-old son, Alexander.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's all coming back to me. The sleepless nights and the changing of the diapers. And trust me, man, baby farts are like the stinkiest farts in the world. But it was a blessing. It was something that we had planned, and it was something that we thought about for a few years, just because of our age.
Right.
Especially me. I'm 6 years older than my wife, so it was like, okay,
No,
so
you're
when
20. I
he's
thought you were 21. What are you talking about?
now I'm 23.
Oh, 23.
So it was just like, well, when he's in high school, people are going to think I'm his grandfather. It was like all these things were going on in my head, and it just kind of, I don't know, just one day it was just like, you know what, I'm going to give this kid everything that I have, just like I do my other 2 kids, and I'm just going to raise them with love. And you can't determine. You could be here one day and go on the next. You can't determine anything. So I'm just going to live it and enjoy it. He's a beautiful child. I mean, we spent a week in quarantine in the hospital. That's my 17-year-old. We spent a week in quarantine in the hospital, which was not fun. We weren't allowed to leave the room. We had to wear masks. If I left the room, I wouldn't be allowed back in the hospital.
Oh, my gosh.
We didn't have family or friends weren't able to come to the hospital to visit. It was rough. It was very taxing and very emotional. Although we were very happy and overjoyed and still are, it still hurts that family members can't hold them just yet. And it's not because I don't trust anyone. I just don't know where anyone else has been or who they've been around.
And that's the tough part, because you can't control other people, and it's like you just got to protect yourself at this point, because like this thing is no joke. This thing is no joke. But let me tell you though, I would do anything to have you and Jenny as my parents, because y'all just fit. Y'all are like just perfect, man.
It's interesting. He's gonna have quite a vocabulary that we're gonna have to tone down. Tell him you can't say this when you're not with mom and dad, because my other kids can attest. I never spoke to my kids as kids. I never did. I spoke to them as adults. So when they would question things or talk back, I couldn't get angry because I was like, this is the way I spoke to you the whole time, and I would always say to them, I'm not going to insult your intelligence by talking down to you. So I'm going to talk to you like I talk to anybody else. And I think now I have a really good open relationship with my 2 older kids. And we talk all the time. As you know, I was married once before, so my kids don't live with me full time. But we talk every day. And, I let them know I'm a tough guy. I'm a hard ass. I was very strict, very strict. But I did it because, I love them. And especially now, you gotta make sure.
Well, I was gonna ask what it was like to that, just the time difference raising kids back then and raising a kid now in 2020. while obviously the concept is similar, do you find like a lot of major differences in what things were like when your older ones were younger and things now?
Not so much at this stage because he's only 2 months old.
Right.
But raising kids back then, I would say compared to me being raised, we didn't have the technology.
Right.
Everything is there at the palm of your hand and goes in a millisecond. So everything that you do now is so monitored, and whatever you put out there will be out there for the rest of your life.
So don't say anything you don't want out there, Rico, because it's here forever.
Oh, you've seen my Facebook feed. I say whatever the hell I want to say. So I'm losing friends left and right these past few weeks. So it's all good.
You and me both.
It's all good.
You and me both. Well, speaking of losing friends, I wanted to ask you that way because it's important because football season's coming up, and I want you to explain to all of us how and why the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the NFC East and the Super Bowl. Ready, set, go.
They're not going to win the Super Bowl. They possibly might win the NFC East. They have the most loaded, stacked offense in the entire league. Like that, I can say.
I feel like the Eagles have a good. I feel like the Eagles have a good team this year, man. I feel like especially your receiver core.
We'll see. Rager. We could have gotten Rager in the second round. We could have, we'll see. I mean, we have no linebackers.
Right.
We got no linebackers. So, like, that's a big deal to me. Like, our front four, nobody can touch the front four in the entire league. Our front four is just nasty. We got Slay. We got Slay the offseason. So, we're shoring up, Maddox is probably going to move to nickel slot.
Right.
So we've got some things there. I think I'm okay with our defense, believe it or not. I don't think our defense blew a lot of games last year. It was just we didn't have the offensive power in regards to wide receivers. Everybody was hurt.
Right.
So for them to make the playoffs,
you guys got to stay healthy, man. That's the big thing right there.
Yeah. So I mean, even not for nothing, that wild card game, we should have beaten Seattle. We could have beaten Seattle. We only lost, and it was like the same score from the first time we played, so it was pretty evenly matched. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, whatever the case may be. We might not even have football starting on time this year. So who knows?
Did you see that they said they might, when they play the games in empty stadiums, they might put some virtual fans in the stands?
Yeah, stop doing that. Don't do that.
That's dumb. That's the dumbest
thing.
But
but believe it or not, I actually want to see football with no fans.
Yeah.
I want to hear the players. I want to hear everything. And I want to hear how the censors are going to get away with that stuff. That's what I want to know. Like, I want to hear everything. I want to hear, like, Fletcher Cox, like, busting out F-bombs and everything, and then Carson Wentz going, okay, this one's for Jesus. Stuff like that. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear everything. So.
Right. It's going to be fun. Well, we know when the NBA season starts up next month, we're definitely going to be getting that because there's going to be nobody out there. And I kind of like hearing them call out plays and calling out that stuff. It's going to be interesting to
and be talking trash.
Yeah.
And be talking
100%.
trash.
100%.
And they're not allowed. They're not allowed in the parks.
That's right. I saw
at Disney, they're not allowed in the park. So once they play, they can go to eat or get their food delivered to them, but they have to stay in the hotel or I'm fine.
It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying home.
So do you think the Sixers, given the new format that they just announced, what do you think the Sixers' chances with a healthy team, healthy Ben Simmons, all of that, and Shake Milton, who was on a roll towards the end of the first part.
I'll tell you what. That greatest game I've been to so far since this team has been together was Christmas Day. I went to that game on Christmas Day, and that was just
against the Bucks.
Against the Bucks, yeah. Me and my son went on Christmas Day, man, and the atmosphere was just insane.
It was like a playoff game.
Oh yeah. The atmosphere was like a playoff game. Mm-hmm. People were shooting threes. I was like, "What is going on here?" Like,
and we beat the mess out of them, man. We beat the mess out of them that day.
Yeah, we did. I think the Sixers can, if everything falls into place and they stay healthy. Mm-hmm. And Embiid is Embiid last season, not the Embiid of I just hate him taking 3-pointers all the time. It just drives me insane.
He needs to be in the paint.
But when he's angry, he's angry and he's pissed off, there's not many that can stop him. That's who we need.
Right.
That's
his footwork down low is so good. So good. I just stay down there. Stay down there.
Yeah. I mean, if they can do that, and I don't even need Ben Simmons to. I would love for him to shoot, 15-footer.
Right.
But even if he could just penetrate through the paint,
Yes,
and just
and then
dish
dish it
off
out.
like Magic used to do. I mean, if he can just do that and be aggressive,
oh yeah,
I can see them going to the Eastern Conference Final. I don't think they'll make it to the NBA Final, but I think I could see them. To me, it'll be a dogfight between them, the Bucks, and the Heat. Like I really think, like
I did not expect the Heat to be as good as they were.
Nah, me neither.
Like people were counting them out, including myself.
Yeah,
No,
I think it's down. Boston doesn't scare me as like they used to anymore. Right. Like I'm not even worried about them. But I think between those three teams, like those are going to be the teams. One of those three teams will be in the finals, and it'll probably be the Bucks.
Right.
Let me just be real. Giannis is just on a different planet right now.
I mean, who can guard him? There's nobody thinking I can guard him. Like
no. Yeah, exactly.
So I wanted to ask you because I know you're a big Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, last year we had the final Star Wars of the Skywalker saga.
Right.
What was your thoughts on that final Star Wars movie? Were you a fan, or did you like how it all concluded? What are your thoughts on just the last three of the Skywalker saga?
There were a few things that I questioned, and there were, it
was very divisive. It was very divisive.
I was not in the camp of I hated it.
Okay.
There was enough throwback
mm-hmm.
to the original for 4, 5, and 6. There was enough of nostalgia for me to be like, oh my God, this is why I love Star Wars to begin with. And I know a lot of my friends disagree with me 110%.
Right.
But I know you and I disagreed on The Force Awakens because I loved it. Because you said it was A New Hope Part 2, and I enjoyed that it was A New Hope Part 2.
But here's the thing.
Last Jedi.
Here's the thing. I think, and I'm willing to admit this. The Force Awakens has grown on me after seeing the Last Jedi.
Okay.
Because I was not a big fan of the Last Jedi, and I think I liked Force Awakens better.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the Last Jedi. I didn't hate it. For me, it moved very slow.
Right.
It moved very slow for me.
Wait, I might be getting. What was the second one?
The Last Jedi.
And the third one was
Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, I didn't like Rise of Skywalker, but I like Last Jedi better because I saw Rise of Skywalker.
See, I like the 1 and 3. I guess. But Last Jedi was my least favorite, and there were a few plot holes that didn't make sense, and
sure.
But spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it, when I thought Chewbacca died, like we were like crying in the theater, like I was like freaking out, and then I got angry. I was like, nah, this can't happen. This can't happen.
Right.
I was like, you already killed Han. I'm like, what the hell's going on right now? But I enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. I saw it 3 times.
Right.
And I noticed something different each time, and it was fine. And I get where people were upset. It totally made sense. But I also get why people loved it, And I'm in the camp of just be happy there's Star Wars.
Right.
There's a new Star Wars movie. You know how long we waited for a Star Wars movie? Just be happy.
See, I'm one of those people. You don't yell at me for this. I might have told you this before, but my favorite Star Wars movie is Rogue One to this day.
Rogue One is my second.
Mm-hmm.
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Episode 5. That's my all-time favorite Star Wars movie. Like that was like as a kid, growing up as an adult. It's absolute 100% favorite. Rogue One is it's like 1 and 1A because Rogue One, out of I'm taking the original trilogy aside.
Sure.
Adding the prequels, adding the offshoots, and the Han Solo story, and the 3 ones down. Rogue One was, there's my 17-year-old again. Rogue One was hands down, just from beginning to end, you were invested in the entire movie.
And I remember leading up to it, there were people that were concerned because there was a lot of drama on the back end and reshoots and all this stuff. And people were really concerned, but it actually turned out to be pretty good.
It was, and here's the thing: it's you knew the ending. You went in, you knew how it was going to end, but you still were like, I don't know what's going to happen. You still were hoping out for hope that somebody, something.
Right. That Vader fight scene at the end, man.
Yeah.
I stood up in the theater. I was like.
yeah. Well, a lot of people who are Star Wars fans of just the film never read the books and never read the novels and the comic books and knowing how badass Vader was.
Right.
Through everything. So it was nice to finally kind of get his dues you know, except for what you saw in the original trilogy. Like you finally gets his dues to see how like crazy and bad he was, you know. So it was pretty cool.
Right. So now I do want to shift to a little something that may or may not be happening outside. I'm sure you're aware at the moment that, you know, surprisingly, COVID-19 is the second most important topic out in the world right now. And we have this entire Black Lives Matter movement that is rightfully so taking over. And I'm curious what your thoughts have been on the movement as of late, and where things could and should go from here.
Okay, you want to open up that can of worms with me?
We're going there. We're going there.
You know, I was explaining to my daughter the other day, we were talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, and I told her, like, you know, the murder of George Floyd by those 4 officers was the tipping point. You have coronavirus, people are quarantined, millions of people out of work, and it's getting hot. If you ever saw Do the Right Thing, it's just the boiling point. Like, it was, you know, in the murder of George Floyd, the senseless murder of George Floyd was the tipping point that just exploded. And it just exploded. And, you know, there's protesters, there's looters, and there's rioters. You know, you have 3 factions going in on one thing. And I will never be happy when someone loses a business or a job. Like, I would never in a million years be happy about that. My thought is, what I say is, what did you expect was going to happen? So I stand with the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, I'm a proud, you know, as my Facebook profile picture, Boricuas for Black Lives, you know, and I'm a son of a hippie. My grandmother is Afro-Latina. So when my grandparents moved here from Puerto Rico, she had to go to the colors only water fountain, and people shouting out the N-word in Baltimore when they first came to this country. And people saying, my grandfather, you're a race traitor. Didn't even know he didn't speak the lick of English, because my grandfather looks whiter than me. And I would hear the stories from my grandparents, and then I would hear the stories from my mom, and they would say, you know, oh, your mom's black, and, you know, say things to my mom. And my mom is like pasty white. But in the especially Puerto Rico, in our culture, you have brothers and sisters. One looks black, one looks Chinese, Asian, one looks white, one has red hair, one has blonde hair, and we're all related and have the same parents. So to me, I was always raised to appreciate the color of someone else, because it was something. If someone says to me, I don't see color, you automatically lose the argument with me. You lose my interest, because it's important to see that you're different.
I want you to see who I am.
Exactly, and to respect that. Myself, I know the privilege I have of being a fair-skinned Latino. I've always known the privilege I have that I can go into an audition as an actor. We're actors. I can go into an audition and I can get a part that's for a white actor just because of the way I look. I can also get a part for a Hispanic actor because I can do that, because I can do that too. I also know that I can go into a part with black friends, which I had before, and gone into parts and gotten parts over them, even when they were more talented than me, only because of the complexion of my skin. And that's a fight that I've been trying. That's something I've been fighting for years, especially in this area. You know, even though I'm fair skinned, and I've still experienced bigotry on my own with directors, actors, producers saying very snide things about my Latinness or being white and this and that. And I've often found, I don't know if it's the case with you, but I think this is the time where we need to start saying things, you know. I mean, I've often found like the most racially insensitive places that I've ever been in my life has been in this area in theater, and with people that I know, and people that I know personally who are like, Black Lives Matter and we're inclusion for everyone, but yet I know last week you're dropping N-bombs and you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You're not going to cast a more talented black person or a more talented different person of color in a title role, because that doesn't fit the narrative of your narrow vision. And that's what I find. And that needs to change, because there's so many talented black people here. There's so many talented black people, people of color, of all denominations, of all gender types. There's so many talented people that don't want to do theater. And to get them to do theater and to say you matter, your talent is what matters. That's something I'm going to be fighting for my very last breath. And I've been doing it, and I've been shouting to the rooftops. And you've seen my Facebook posts, and they've been vicious. But I say with all honesty,
this is the time. You know what I'm saying? Because my biggest fear is this, dude, that 2 weeks from now, when Black Lives Matter is probably the third or fourth most important thing, when the dust settles, when it's not cool anymore, and theaters that may have or may not have gotten called out, that, you know, they're going to just wait for the dust to settle. And then once theater returns at some point, maybe in 2021, they're going to consider that, oh yeah, remember that time? Yeah, that was funny. Anyway, let's go back to what we were doing before. Right. And I personally feel like now is the time to speak up, because there is no theater happening. And right now there's so many theaters that are figuring out what they're going to do to survive, you know, once their doors open back up. And my thing is, like, if you want to survive, open your doors up to everybody. Start thinking outside of the box, because you're going to have to change now, you know? So I'm calling for that change now, because, like, why not? There's no theater happening right now. So when you're in your committee meetings, when you're in your board meetings talking about what's going to happen next, this should be 100% on the docket.
No, you're right. And it's something that I've been fighting for, I want to say, for the better part of 15 years. My best / worst memory is having a conversation with some people that are well known in this area. And when I pitched, I remember pitching Dreamgirls and Ain't Misbehaving in one season, because I knew some people, I could make some calls, and I was already kind of hyping it up a year before, trying to get, people interested. And I had people from Philadelphia and all over the place, amazing, wonderful, super talented black artists for these shows. And I was told our subscribers don't want to come see shows for a season with all black people on stage. And then I was basically told to, just know your place and just be on stage, do what you do. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. And it's just something that stayed with me, and it hurt me to my core. Not because I feel like I'm some savior. I always tell my black friends, I support you, I see you, I hear you. I'm not going to fight for you. I'm going to fight with you. Because I'm not anybody's savior, but I will take a bullet for you. And I will fight this fight. And I think where my voice can be heard the most is in this area. Is in this area with theater. I know a lot of people, and people know me, and some people like me, some people hate me, and that's okay. But people will never say that I don't speak the truth. I don't speak what's on my mind, and I'm firmly, especially now, I'm even more committed to getting works of art that feature black artists, whether it's productions, whether it's plays, whether it's production staff, whether the actors. Once we realize that black lives do matter and black artists' lives matter, then we can all get together and put on something beautiful. And in 2 weeks, this can't die down. Because I've been basically just screaming by myself or with a handful of people for 15 years. Now I have all these artists, black, white, Hispanic. I have men, women, straight, gay, transgender, non-binary. I have all these artist friends that I know, that I've done shows with, or I know through another friend, who are all on that same page. So now I feel like, again, the tragic murder of George Floyd was the tipping point. We need to change this country, and we need to change it in the worst way. I want my kids to grow up, and my 2-month-old son to grow up, and I want him to say what I said when I first heard about slavery when I was in school. And I went, people actually did that? That was so stupid. Are you kidding me? People did that stuff? That's what I want my kids to be like. That's what I want my son to be like. Whoa, what happened? Who was president? Yeah, So whoever sees this, I know you have like thousands of followers, and you can find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter, Loves Haters. I troll Donald Trump all the time.
That's true. I love when you
Breitbart.
tweet at him, man. I love it.
I've been blocked by Breitbart. I've been blocked by Donald Trump Jr. So I go in and I don't care. But anyone within this area, anything, hit me up. We can always talk. I want this to be, I'm all about inclusion.
Right.
All about inclusion.
Right. And see, this is obviously especially important to me too, because I know what position I am in various, theaters, and what voice I have as well. And the part that I think I struggle with the most is the part that I beat myself up over, especially recently, is that I know that I could have done more. And I have quite often let theaters use me as their like, hey, we have a black friend, so it's okay kind of excuse, right? And I can't allow that anymore. And I have to speak up, because I don't want to continue to be a theater's just go-to. Like when people say it's okay, I have a black friend. Like, I'm that black friend a lot of the time when it comes to theater. And a lot of people look to me to speak up, and I haven't. This past fall, I directed a production of The Wiz and a production of Into the Woods. The production of The Wiz had an all-black cast. Yay. The production of Into the Woods had an all-white cast. I could have done something about that. That was my show. I could have cast it differently. I could have made the concerted effort. So I know from me, from this point forward, I need to lead by example here, and use the voice that I have to open up the doors to especially the young artists that are out there that may not even know what they're capable of in theater.
Right. Well, you're right. It's the responsibility of every, especially now, it's the responsibility of every black artist to speak up. It's the responsibility of every white artist to speak up. It's the responsibility of every Latinx artist to speak up. It doesn't matter. We have a voice, and we're strong. And for an industry that preaches inclusion, it's very exclusive. It's very exclusive when you get told constantly, well, you look white, so you can do this part. But if you look like your cousin, if you really look Puerto Rican, you wouldn't have gotten this part. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? And that's me dealing with racism. I couldn't even imagine if I was black, what I would, you understand? Like, that's, and me knowing that, if someone as dumb as me can figure that out,
don't sell yourself short.
No, I'm very passionate about this topic, and there's a list. I'm 46 years old. I've been doing this for 35 plus years. I've done 2 national tours. I've done children's theater. I've traveled all around the country. I got nothing to lose. I'm happy where I'm at. I miss theater. I miss directing. I miss being on stage. It will come back. But I want to ensure that even if I never step on a stage again or direct a show ever again, that my voice was used for something good, that I can see people succeed that deserve to succeed and not be held back because of the color of their skin. I find it absolutely ridiculous. I wasn't raised like that. I'm not raising my children like that. My wife is not like that. I don't play that game. I don't play that. So it's, I have a list. And I make no bones about it. I have a list of people and theaters that I will never step foot on. I will never give them my money. I will never do anything until I see a diverse board.
Yes.
Until I see certain people gone. Until I see people wake up and say, and stop with, I don't see color. I'm colorblind. That doesn't work with me. That doesn't work with me. And everyone else, just so we're clear. Not every white person is bad. Not every, not even saying that. Not at all. Because if not, I have to
we're not calling you racist. No. Not everybody's racist.
But for you, Kyrus, when you said you struggled with, you could have done more. Okay, maybe you could have. But now you recognize that. Now move forward from it. Okay. Now move forward for it. And if your friends who aren't black can't understand, and can't get behind you, then they were never really your friends to begin with.
I agree.
And that's the bottom line.
Right.
And that is the honest bottom line. And, you know, I always say I have friends and I have theater friends.
Yes.
Theater friends are way different than your friends.
Yes, they are.
You know?
Yes, they are.
So if your theater friends say that
Mm-hmm.
you're friends, but they can't support the cause, they can't stand behind you or make excuses. Well, you know, I don't agree with this, but that's you don't need a part-time friend.
And let me tell you, dude, even over the past, you know, couple days, like last Thursday or Friday, I put out a statement saying that, like, I'm not going to work with any theaters now that don't have some sort of program in place that will, you know, not, and this is not saying that they don't have it already, but I think that they need to make this a public stance on what they're going to do to promote inclusion. Maybe it's reaching out to inner city. Maybe it's whatever it is. I don't want just a Facebook status anymore. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I want
and
to
you're right.
see what action you're going to be taking. And I put up a status that said, I'm not going to work with your theater or your production company until I see something. And I got some shit for that. From actors, performers, from theaters. I dropped out of 2 productions. 2 that I was supposed to do because like that is how much this, like, people don't realize, like, this is really important to me. You know, as much as I want to do this for you, I also want to take care of my fellow brothers and sisters that feel like they've been shat on for years.
Right.
I'm sorry that you had to put up with 1 week of people being mad so far, but like you said, you've been putting up with this for years. You've seen this with your own eyes for years.
I grew up. I'm a native of Camden, you know, New Jersey. You know, I grew up in Camden, and you know, consistently the most dangerous city in the world. And growing up, like, to the point where, like, we just were like, oh, that's our badge of honor. Like, that's what we are. And I've seen raids happen on houses across the street. I've had bullet holes to our windows at night while we're sleeping, cars broken into, getting jumped, beat up, mugged, everything. But I've also seen the other side of senseless police brutality with friends, harassment, just the profiling, and it always made me sick. And I always thought theater was that one place where I could be safe. And it was for a bit, you know, when I was in this little cocoon. And then once I started, like, going out, then it was like, then you would hear the ugly side of it. And it just wasn't something I was ever down with. You know, and that's why when you're younger, you're afraid to speak up because you just want to work. I just wanted to work and make money. Now that I'm older, and I always joke, it's like, I got nothing to lose. What the hell do I got to lose? You know, I know who's down with me, and I know who's not. And the people that I'm kind of like on the fence about, they've been flushing themselves out for the past 2 weeks. So if any theater gives you any kind of stuff for speaking your mind, you know, then that's a theater you don't need to be working with. And those are people that you don't need to be working with. And if it means you're only working at one theater, then you're only working at one theater. And if it means you don't work at any theaters, you don't work at any theaters. I've been speaking with some friends as recent as maybe 15 minutes before we started this. And, you know, we're talking about organizing some actor stuff, and stay tuned. But it's, you know, if we need to stand together. We need to stand together. The Black community needs the white community, the Latinx community. Everybody needs to stand together. And it's Pride this month, you know, and nothing but love from my Pride, you know, my Pride people. It's like, it's just like all these things. And, you know, there's so many good things in this country. There's so many good things. And what I've noticed, I haven't focused so much on the riots. I focused a lot on the good people, like people that I was like, oh my God. And people that I never thought in a million years that I know personally, and I see them marching. And I'm yelling at them that they're not wearing a mask. But I see them marching, and I'm seeing 75, 80-year-old, 90-year-old people marching right alongside with 6-year-olds and 5-year-olds. And it makes me happy to see that the younger generation are a lot smarter than we are.
And they're a lot more connected. They the connection nowadays, and the ability to spread information and to get all on the same page is a lot easier now. It
is a lot easier, and I'm grateful and I'm hopeful, and it warms me. Just that march in Philly the other day.
Oh my God, you see
I
that?
had tears.
Yes.
Jenny and I were watching it, and like I had tears,
Yeah.
like welling up because I couldn't even catch my breath because it was like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
And no one had to go hide in the bunker.
Right.
So it was just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man.
But we're gonna do. I've given my vow to my friends, to my family, and I'm saying it out here that I am going to fight with my every last breath to make sure that the Black community is represented in a fair and just way, and not just oh, you can be the token Black guy, and not Hairspray,
right?
Because apparently Hairspray is a Black show. So not Hairspray.
Yeah.
That's not a Black show.
Right.
So
it's a show that happens to have a bunch of Black people in it.
Correct. And they're not even the leads. So there you go. So
North Avenue doesn't get any love.
Exactly. So, but I will say is like my friends. I have friends that have told me personally, I will never step a foot on stage again until this has changed.
Yes.
I don't want to be around, and these are talented human beings, some of the most talented people that I've ever known. And I fight with them. And I'm going to make sure that people's voices are heard in any capacity that I can do it.
Right.
With my big ass mouth, I'm going to fight because I'm okay with staying on the sideline while seeing my friends shine. Right. Because that's what they're supposed to be doing, and that's what they should have been doing all these years. Right. And if someone individual, a board, a theater, an actor, a director doesn't like it, I'll be the first one to tell them what they can do with themselves. And I got no problem putting anybody on blast. So, that's my promise to all of y'all. That's my promise to all of y'all.
See, this is why I got a big
mouth. I got a big mouth, and I get a bit aggressive sometimes. But I get aggressive for the things that I actually believe in, and the people that I care about. Right. And I may, to every Black artist out there, I may not know you, but I care about you. And I swear with everything on my children, I will fight with you to the very end to make sure that you're all represented the right way, and not like, we need someone and just throw them in there.
Right. See, this is exactly why I love you, and I'll never forget when we first one of the because I knew Jenny before I knew you, and we. I remember you hit me up on Facebook Messenger to come audition for In the Heights at the Grand, directed by Suzanne, rest in peace. Yeah. And I got to be Benny to your Usnavi, and we ended up getting matching tattoos for that show. That was just, and you were just a joy to work with because you would bring it every day, like no matter if it was rehearsal, the performances, warm-ups, no matter what it was, like you were always on point. And I remember I used to I would see you do your thing on stage, and I'm like, I gotta step my shit up because Rico is on another level right now. He is living his best life, and I'm sitting here like I gotta memorize my lines.
That show is so important to me.
Yeah.
That show is I remember seeing that show the first time in New York, and I cried, like ugly cried the opening number because I was like, oh my God, it's about my family. It's about me. It's where I grew up. Yeah. And it was funny because I had cousins from that area. In Washington Heights, even though it's a predominantly Dominican area. Yeah. And I remember going up there and places they would talk about. I'm like, I know what he's talking about. And it was just, I never thought in a million years I'd ever be able to play that part. Yeah. There was, it was supposed to happen again. But the Rona, she had another.
We don't even get the movie. We don't even get the movie till next year.
We don't even get the movie, and I did convey a message that said I hope it can be done next year, or before I start collecting Social Security, because I don't think there's many 50-year-old Usnavis out there. So
you can still rock it out. You know it. So, damn well you can still rock that out.
Before this, I did Just for Men. I shaved. You think I'm lying? I'm not even lying. I did it Just for Men. My beard was white like Santa Claus. Like everything was just completely white.
No, it was not.
It was completely white. And I look at myself in the mirror and I go, damn, I look old. And I was like, I can't be going on no camera looking like this. And I just for Men.
Those are marks of wisdom, my friend. Marks of wisdom.
Well, I don't know where the wisdom went because it sure ain't going to my skull. So, yeah. But hopefully that show can. I'm going to do everything within my power to make sure that show gets into the next full season.
I'm right there with you, man. Because I turned 33 this year, and like I need to play Benny one more time before Benny is an old creeper.
Yeah, I just want to do it one. I just want to do it one more time, and then I'll direct it every damn year.
Right.
And then y'all, when you see the notice, whenever it comes up, wherever it's going to be, I can't say any more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it comes up, I expect every Black person, every Latinx person to come out. I don't care, Black, white, what you look like. We're going to throw it out. You know, there are certain things that I would love my white brothers and sisters to kind of just stay away from. I joke let us have this.
Just this one, please.
Let's have this. Just like that one clip, I can't find it anywhere, of Dreamgirls, and Effie was played by a white woman.
No,
the entire cast was Black, and Effie was played by a white woman. And I remember saying, they can't even have this show either. A middle-aged white woman was Effie. No. I swear on my kids.
No.
And I lost my mind.
That's not
I lost my mind. I started laughing for about 20 seconds until I realized it was an actual show, not a joke. And I was like, where is Titus when you need him?
Yeah.
It was horrific. It was
my God, I gotta find this.
Yeah. I can't find it on YouTube anymore. I swear someone scrubbed it out.
Probably, rightfully so.
I mean, it was on for years.
Oh my God.
And if I see another white person in the pageant saying, "You're going to love me," I'm telling you, you're going to love, and I'm like, stop. I don't want to hear it anymore. No. I don't.
You have all of the songs.
Just stop. Just stop.
Come on.
You know?
Let us have a couple of them, please.
2020 is the year. I mean, we went from Rona to we skipped past Murder Hornets. You know,
at this point, I'm just waiting for the aliens to show up. So
the aliens are looking at us like they're gonna do it themselves. You know, they're gonna do it themselves. I mean, when the most normal thing about 2020 was Tiger King, you know we got a problem. And by the way, Carol Baskin did kill her husband.
Listen, there is not without a shadow of a doubt that she did that shit. We know it. We all know it.
She killed him. Oh yeah, she killed him. Oh yeah.
If anybody that says differently is just lying.
No, she did that shit. She absolutely did that shit. I watched that documentary twice, and I watched it once on my own, and then I made Jenny watch it with me. And then I told my daughter, when she before she came home for the summer, I told my daughter, I was like, "Yo, you got to watch this." My son doesn't like it. He thought it was stupid, but my daughter was like, "Yo," my daughter texted me. She goes, "Dad, Carol Baskin killed her husband. She absolutely killed her husband."
I'll side with Tiger King on that. She definitely did it without a doubt.
So this is that's the most normal thing in 2020.
Right.
So
that also seems like that was 2 years ago. That was 2 months ago. But
right.
But
right. It's rough. It's rough, and people are getting sick, and people are dying. And I know people who've lost close family members to this, of all ages. Yeah. Perfect health, bad health, and I just want everybody out there be safe. You know, in the industry that I work in, I see these cases every day. You know, I don't want to get into actually what I do, but I see these cases every single day, and I'm seeing people as young as 6 years old. 7 years old, 80 years old. It doesn't matter whether they're obese, in great shape. I've seen fitness instructors who are in perfect health, lungs shredded, losing 20 pounds in 3 weeks, just looking like, skull and bones. And it's rough. So people, please, this is not a joke. Be safe. Do what you got to do. You can still have fun. I had a socially distanced barbecue the other day, and everyone sat 6 feet apart from each other, and we were all fine. It was weird, but it was good to have some social interaction with people. So just everybody be safe and take care.
Wear your mask.
You go to these marches, these protests. I'm there with you. Just make sure that you have some hand sanitizer. You're wearing your mask. I know it gets hot, but we need you alive, because the fight doesn't stop after a week or two. We need you to
we
keep
need
going and
all of
going
you
and
alive,
going.
especially in the first week, the first Tuesday in November. We need you.
I tell they said, who are you voting for? And I said, ABT. Who's ABT? I said, anybody but Trump. Anybody but Trump, you know me. You know me. I was a Bernie guy, like ride and die. I was a Bernie guy, but I voted the right way the last time, even though Bernie wasn't there. I'm voting the right way this time, even though Bernie's not there. So, it is what it is. But I do think at this point, we need to stop electing old white men.
I agree.
We need a woman in there or something. We need that. We need that at this point. Right. It was like I felt like America was like, all right, we're gonna let you have this black dude. We're gonna do experiment for 8 years with this black dude. And then they were like, you know what? That's enough. That's enough.
That's enough. Now we're gonna give you the worst thing. We're gonna give you the worst thing in the history of the world. Enjoy.
I'd rather sleep over Carol Baskin's house, smothered in sardine oil, with a murder hornet hive in the room, and have the police guard my room, than and the Dallas Cowboys win a Super Bowl.
That's how I know you're serious.
Then have Donald Trump be reelected as president.
That's how I know you're serious.
Yeah,
because I know how you feel about my boys.
Yeah. That's how insanely serious I am about this. And
I came this close to wearing my Cowboys hat. I figured you would. I came very close.
But y'all got to vote. Yes, get out there. You have to talk about it, but you got to be about it, man. And trust me, your vote does count.
Every vote counts. Your voice matters.
We need to change. We need to change this world. And how beautiful is it that countries around the world, that the tragic, senseless murder of George Floyd, countries around the world are all like, to hell with this. This has got to change.
Yes.
Because there's racism against black people in other countries as well, not just here. But we're the ones with all the guns, and we're the ones that let people get away with shit.
It's not Sunday. You're not supposed to be preaching. It's not Sunday.
Those officers didn't get arrested because they murdered a man. They got arrested because people started breaking stuff.
Right.
And so, think on that. If no one would have said anything, no one would have said boo, nothing would have happened. And and Mr. Floyd was just
another one,
a tipping point. Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, we had all these people for no reason, only based on the color of their skin.
Right.
And incompetence.
Right.
And aggression and hatred.
Right.
We got to change this. Right. And, I'm going to start here because this is what I can control.
Right.
I can control here.
Right.
Myself. And this is where I feel like I'm going to do the most damage, so to say, give the best benefit and stuff. So, that's my mission.
Man. For real. Legit,
that's my mission.
You've been a brother to me for a long time, man, and I'm happy. Thank you for taking the time to sit with me today.
I'm sorry this took so long. I apologize.
No, dude, this is perfect, man. I love it.
All right. Sometimes as my wife says, I like to hold court a lot. So when I go, I just start to go. Dude,
I love every second of it, man. Because you're my brother, man, and I love you to death. I love Jenny, and just please stay safe and.
You too.
Go Cowboys. I just have to.
Before we leave, I want to ask you a question.
And
in all seriousness, with all this here, how do you feel with everything that's going on between the Black Lives Matter movement and theater in our area, and the protests and everything else? How do you feel your white friends have responded to you, whether it be positively or negatively, or do you think a lot of them are just giving you lip service because it's the cool thing to do to join a movement? Because on the internet, it's a cool thing to do to join a movement on social media. And I think one of my posts a couple weeks ago was like, I see the Facebook you, but I know the real you, so I don't buy any of this stuff. And apparently, and this goes for some black people too.
Yes. So
what are your thoughts on that? Are you seeing through things, or? Yes,
because there are a lot of instances with mutual friends of ours, where they want to do their part, not because it's right, but because if I don't do what I'm supposed to, that affects them. So they're just like, okay, what do I have to do? Just tell me what I have to do, right?
Right.
So I kind of see through that. There are genuine people out there. I will say
Sure.
that. Majority
Sure.
of the people that have messaged me privately and all that, like, are pure, like, super duper genuine, and I love it and I appreciate it. But I am a true believer that actions speak louder than words, because, like you said, it's cool right now. Black Lives Matter, hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag Blackout Tuesday. Let's do it, right? What are you going to be doing next week and next month, next year? Like, this isn't just a trend, my friends. This isn't just like a fad.
Right.
This is the new normal now. I'm going to be calling you out.
And that's what you should do.
Up and saying something now.
Absolutely.
So don't be surprised when your season opens up next year if you hear me, among others, say something. Why are there 0 black people on your board? Why are there no women on your board? You know, it's that time. And, like, I just hope people realize that, like, I'm taking this shit very seriously. So when your season opens back up, do not be surprised if you hear me call you out. When this whole thing dies down, just in general, theater aside, don't be surprised when I call you out. Don't be surprised. That's all I can say, because, like, I mean, who's to say what's true and what's not? Because actions will speak louder than words. We'll see. We'll see soon who's being genuine and who's not.
Yeah. Someone I know, someone that a lot of people know, said to me one time, actors are whores. They'll do whatever I tell them to do. When I question, why were you doing something? Like, don't treat people like this. And I don't believe that. I want to not believe that. And I want to not believe, especially now, you know, because, again, the whole social media and we're part of the movement and everything else. But then as soon as anything opens up the season, I'm already there, you know, and that's the concern I have with a lot of people. Once that happens, are you really going to stick to your word? And, you know, I've said it a million times, I'm willing to die on this hill if I don't do anything ever again.
And that's why I'm calling for people to post things, not just a Facebook status, but, like, whatever your plan is, whatever you talk about behind closed doors, put it up online. You know why? Because I want people to be able to hold you accountable. You can't, no longer is it going to be acceptable to be like, oh, we talked about this in the board meeting, this is what we're going to do. No. Put it up online so everybody can see it. Everybody can see it on your website, on your social media channels, wherever you put it up, because I want people to be like, okay, they're doing this, and when they see that you're not, they can hold you accountable.
No, and I agree with you. And I think, you know, my opinion, my voice would say to you, you have a lot of friends that aren't black, more than me. Okay. And again, I ain't got no problem with it, because my wife is white, but she got that fat ass. But listen, what I'm saying is that you have a voice. You know, I don't all necessarily agree with things the big positivity train, because that's just not me. You know, I get it for, you know, whatever, but that's your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your thing. And you have a lot of people that listen to you, whether it's in this area or up in, like, you know, Trenton area, Princeton area, you know, that the Kelsey area, that whole thing, Mercer County. You have people that listen to you that aren't black, and you know, I with everything that's going on, you know, you should really be holding yourself accountable to make sure that, you know, people are going to listen to you. They're going to listen to you more than they listen to me. I'm an old dude, you know. I always say I'm old theater. I'm old theater. That's what I am. I'm old South Jersey theater. So people listen to me, but there's only so many people that I can reach. You reach a wide spread of so many more people than I do. So, you know, you need to really, you know, I'm counting on you to really, you know, not, as I say, don't talk about it, be about it, be part of that movement. You know what I mean? And it's important, to educate, and it's important to let people know that this doesn't die down next week. This doesn't die down next year. this dies down when Black people are not systemically victims of systemic racism,
yes.
are not victims of systemic poverty, are not harassed by police, are not murdered by police, are not feeling some sort of way when they get pulled over by a cop that this might be the day I die.
Right.
Don't have the feeling I'm not going to audition for that show because who wants to see a Black Prince Charming?
Right.
Who wants to see a Black Cinderella?
Right.
I don't ever want that. I don't want. That's when this stuff can be done. That's when this can be done. So it's cool now.
Right.
Wait till it gets hard.
You're right.
Because right now it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till it gets hard, and then you're going to see who your real friends are.
Absolutely.
And you're going to see who the people are who are really down with, for the cause and in the fight. So I'm holding you accountable for that, because I'm going to be watching you. I'm holding you accountable for that because it's important. You reach a lot of people,
and that's why I'm putting myself out there, man. Because like I want people to be able to hold me accountable, because I'm going to be holding other people accountable.
Absolutely.
So, and I know damn well that I have to step up, and I know that I have a voice, and I know that I can do more and be more, and I admittedly always shied away from that because I wanted to be the good guy that didn't piss anybody off or play the middle ground. You know what I'm saying? And that is what I can't do anymore.
No,
I can't do it.
You're right.
And people, like, if people want to call me out on things, that's perfectly fine. Please do. As long as we start a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And I will forever tell you, I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, when I make a mistake. My whole thing is, if anybody calls me out, tell me how you're going to help me, how you're going to help the cause, because I feel if there's one thing I do see a lot of right now, it's people calling other people out for things, but not necessarily saying what they are doing. But there are some people out there, there's some really good people out there that are calling people out, and they're showcasing what they're doing. I'll give you an example. Tiara Knock. She is calling people out, rightfully so, and she is using her platform and her voice to spread, news about local Black businesses, and things like that. Like, that kind of stuff is really, really important. And I look at that stuff and I'm like, you know what? I should be doing the same thing.
Yeah, you have a larger target audience. You have a larger viewership, and you should. And it's important because we all have to do this together. You have to do this together. And like I said, I will fight with the Black community, not only my brothers and sisters and my friends that I know, but anybody, my brother-in-law, my nieces and nephews who are Black, my cousins, I fight with all of them because their lives matter to me. And so does yours, and so does Tiara's, and so does every Black person in this country and around the world. It matters to me.
Right.
It matters to me. I see color. I see the difference. I respect the difference. I honor the difference. I want to learn. And it's something that should be cherished.
Right.
It's something that should be cherished. And life is precious. You're here one day, we're not here the next day. So I don't want my life to be like, yeah, he talked a good game, but that was about it.
Right.
And that's not what I want my legacy to be.
You're absolutely right.
And that's what, you are a talented person. You have a knack to have people, as I say, flies to honey. You attract a lot of people around you. Whether it's like part of the Kyrus persona kind of thing, to stay in the middle of the ground and be cool with everybody, or whether it's genuine. Especially now, there comes a point where it's like me, like I'm either angry Rico or I'm funny Rico telling a joke. But there's got to be that place in the middle where it's like you have to make that decision of who going forward in this environment now, and the way the world is now. You have to go forward to who you decide who you're going to be. And I don't. Unfortunately, the way it is right now, my opinion is there's no middle ground. Either you're on this side or you're on this side.
Sure.
Because the middle is not doing anything. Do or do not. There is no try. Master Yoda. And that's what it is. What Miyagi say, either karate yes or karate no. If you're karate maybe, you think so, squish just like a grape.
Right.
And that's what it is, you know?
Yeah.
So, you're in a position, you can do something. You can do something very good with your platform. And that's what it is. And it took me a bit, so to say, to kind of be like, you know what? I don't care anymore.
Right.
If you ever, my ego had to be like, put the ego aside. It's not about me anymore. Right. I don't need 2 hours of FaceTime.
Right.
The people be like, oh, look how good you are.
Right.
I don't need to do that anymore. And it took me some years to get to that point. You know, so my performances and my directing are few and far between than they were before, because I said, this is what I'm going to do. And I can be a very polarizing figure, and that's okay. Right. And because I know where my heart is, and, you know, I just need
people know where you stand always.
Right. And I don't have the platform that you do. So, you know, get to that point. Yeah. Get to that point. You know, there's a lot of black people. There's a lot of black people in the community that, you know, are depending on people like you with a large platform. You know, but when, you know, if it goes to like certain places like, oh, I want you to do this cabaret, when you know damn well that they have done nothing, and you know what, and then you go do it, then the people, the community are just go like, see what I tell you, you know. And that'd be the same for me. I mean, more so for you because you are a black man in this country. You know, me, they'd be like, ah, man, see, I knew he was talking trash. He wasn't for real. But you, they would look at it as something like really like, wow, we're supposed to be in this together. Right. You know what I mean? So, you know, use that. Because you can use it. Use your power for good. With great power comes great responsibility.
That's right. That's right. Dude.
So I'm off my holding court soapbox. I just wanted to make sure I could, you know, conveyed that message to you, because I haven't talked to you in a while. Yeah. It's just you know, it was just when I knew I was doing this, it was just on my mind. You know, just want to make sure that this is nothing against being anti-white or anti anything. It's you have this platform.
Being true to who you are, and making sure you stand up for what you truly believe in.
And not just you, the people that are coming after you. Yes. You know, honor the people that came before you. Honor those people that came before you. You know, my mother was in all these 60s rallies for equal rights, and little 5-foot Puerto Rican who looks white, like pasty white skin, and you know, little fireball, and she would go into rallies while my dad was in Vietnam, and she's going on rallies about, you know, equal rights and stuff, and that's how I was raised, you know. So to me, this stuff is a no-brainer. Again, I don't have the platform you do, you know, so you have that responsibility, and I'm going to be looking to make sure that you keep your word and do that, because honor the generation that came before you, that paved the way for you, that paved the way for all of us, but as a black man, paved the way for you to actually have this, what you have right now, and make it better for the people to come after you. So that the people that come after you, that come after me, could be like, y'all was tripping back then. Yo, that was crazy. Right. That was wild. Right. You know? So like that's, you know, that's all I wanted to make sure.
I appreciate that. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk with you. Because because you and I, we haven't talked in a while. You know, and a lot of shit has gone down, you know, since the last time we talked. Yep. You know, and I think we're long overdue. Long overdue for a chat, because like I said, you're my brother, and I love you to death, and you always keep it real, and I appreciate that, and like I'll always respect that about you. And Jenny's the same way. Jenny will keep it real, you know.
Yeah, she does. That's all the time.
And that's really important. That's really important, you know, because like there's no facade, there's no like mask. Like, look, this is who I am. You either like me or you don't. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So,
and that's how it is.
Man, I love you. Really, honestly, thank you so much for sitting with me.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. No, this is a good conversation. We need to, when this whole thing is done, I'm coming over, we're having a beer and we're talking more.
It was supposed to be you know, about football and fatherhood, and then it got all political.
No, but you know what? But this is what people are talking about right now, and this is important. This is really important. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, no, it's important. Oh, my computer just went on. And it's important to me. You know, it's an important issue, and I just want to make sure that we all fight the good fight, because it ain't over. It ain't over.
We are just getting started.
It just started. So
getting started, man. Look, everybody else, if you enjoyed what you were watching today, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on Snapchat and on TikTok at Kyrus Keenan, or visit my website, thevibewithkai.com, where you can look at blogs and videos that'll make you feel good, do good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. once again, Rico, my boy, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Boricua was for Black Lives.
That's right. Wepa! Good vibes, y'all.